In studying the Steelers and how they played defense versus Cincinnati, two things jumped out at me, and in an admittedly small sample size. It's the first half that I watched and really took note of. But two things really did jump out at me. One, is there a propensity to send a corner blitz from the slot? They did that 6 times in the first half, always off the left tackle side. And we get into that. Another thing is how they're coached to respond, at least in this game, to motions, specifically wide receiver motions across the formation. And we'll look at that as well. A general observation, which I don't really get into, is that they do not go through great lengths in this game specifically to disguise coverages on the back end. I saw the Steelers twice in the first half show cover 4 and run cover 4, both times on 3rd and 10 as an example. So sort of what you see is what you get. But again, this is just one half of one game and just some things that jumped out to me. The Steelers sent a blitz from the slot corner 6 times by my count, 6 times in the first half. So it bears watching, it bears studying so that you can have communication between that receiver and the quarterback. He's going to be open when that happens. So it's a matter of reading it or reading the potential of it pre-snap. And we'll try to look at each one of those blitzes and see if we can pick up a little bit of a tendency, other than they tend toward it. The wide receiver in this case does a nice job, just runs a quick out. You might also call on a slant route or even just a little stop on 2nd and 10 here. I think the fact that they ran a blitz from a DB out of the slot 6 times in one half has you on the alert for it. We'll watch how Cincinnati handles it. Notice they motioned the tight end here to that side, and he runs a vertical route with the inside receiver running a dig underneath of him. I think Dalton notices that, but we want to watch pre-snap. I think he notices this blitz. Watch the DB. Eyes to the receiver. You want the receiver conscious of this, I think, along with the quarterback especially. With him up at the line, looking to the backfield, you're more inclined to think he might be coming. Real visually attached to the backfield at this point. I think that the deep safety does a good job of disguising. Comes back visually to the receiver for just 1 second. Then his eyes are to the backfield. Then a quick look to the wide receiver. He's squared up at this point. And watch his eyes just a little bit to the backfield. Now he starts to move. Now you've got an inkling about it. And as I said, he runs this dig. The tight end takes coverage away, and he runs underneath. Works out well for the Bengals here. Be on the alert. Be in communication this Sunday for those blitzes. Here you see strong visual indicator that he's coming. He even fakes that. So Dalton's thinking that he might be coming. The problem is he's got he's got inside leverage here. And even if he doesn't come, watch the receiver's route. Beats him outside to the flat. Now the throw is not good. Throws too far inside and makes the DB look good. But with this too deep look, and with him inside like that, that's there all day. If he wants to fake that, he can come if he wants, or he can not come. If he's inside like that, you can beat him outside with a quick out. Down inside the red zone, note the DB's eyes. Let's back it up a little bit, see where he starts. Showing a blitz there, and it moves back. You can see Dalton reading him. Maybe that's why he moves back. So it does a better job there, at least in terms of his position, in terms of Dalton spying him out, of kind of making it look like he's going to be in coverage. But his eyes never leave the backfield. This is 1st and 10, and they're inside the red zone. This speaks to communication. Go ahead and take that. Yep, go and hook that up right there. This is exactly what I would want the Ravens receivers to do. Either run out or just hook it up right there. So that doesn't work because Dalton, I guess in his mind, feels one-on-one coverage is worth trying there in the end zone. But just kind of beating this into the ground a little bit because they did. Steelers ran it so frequently. One more look at this slot, at a different slot blitz here. Note that they're all from the left tackle side. It's funny, the more you watch them line up, the more you can see it, at least the potential for it. The Bengals send a receiver in motion, and motions are what we're going to talk about next. Briefly, what you'll notice is that they pass them off. They pass them off so that the opposite side linebacker, either inside or outside, is their tendency to just go with the motion. Okay, so back to the blitz. Pretty good indicator too here. They've got two deep-ish types, safety types here against these two receivers. Once you put that together with the visual that the corner provides here, you're going to want to run a quick route or a quick stop, or what they do here, which is burn them with an in route. Not a great throw. Very good catch by the wide out. Yeah, and that's just communication, film study, and I expect the Ravens to be prepared for those blitzes. Now we want to look just briefly at how the Steelers in the first half dealt with motions that the Bengals threw at them. This is an audible. I think Dalton audibles to a run here. We can watch it from above. They send one of the receivers, the outside receiver from this bunch, in motion. And we talked about this on the previous play, but what the Steelers, based on this game, what they do in terms of motion is they just trade off. They swap off, and they don't follow the receiver. One of the guys, either a DB or an inside linebacker, will take over that responsibility of the motion guy. In this case, watch what that does. This is important. This guy's in the box. This defender's in the box. That motion gets that defender out of the box, and you don't see a lot of this from Cincinnati in the game. But here they move a tight end over. He gets the end man, and the Bengals pick up 5 or 6 yards. The key thing being what motion did and how the Steelers handled motion in this game. I'm sure the Ravens are going to see that. And they run to that side. That motion draws the linebacker out of the box and consequently out of the fit. Very, very important to see that. Yet another example of the Steelers and how they're coached, or how they were coached to deal with motions versus Cincinnati. They do not chase. Once again, they don't chase these guys. They pass it off and they shift. And you can see this orbit motion by 82, pretty deliberate, I would say. You might want to consider different personnel for the Ravens if this was a similar call. But you can see the outside linebacker widen little by little. That's what I mean by it being deliberate. But that's his call at that point. They pass it off to him, and you can see him removed from the run fit. And even though the Bengals do not run here, that is a result of how they're coached to defend these motions. You can remove a defender from the box. I'll say 34 does a nice job here. The Bengals are trying to leak to the tight end, and he's a good job covering there, and Dalton just gets rid of the football. That's a side note.